Today we're going to talk about my fall knitting plans. Hi and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mathilde. I'm a French beginner knitter and today I'm going to share with you what my fall knitting plans are. I'm going to show you some weather appropriate patterns that I want to make for the fall. I, contrary to usual, won't hopefully show you too many projects that I want to do because if you've been around for the last few videos, you know that I've got a tendonitis, so I haven't been able to knit in a month and I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to get back to it, and when I do, whether I can knit, you know, the same amount that I usually do, or if I'm going to have to not knit as much. I'm hoping I can go back to knitting as usual, but that's probably a dream. So I'm going to show you a few of my knitting plans, and I kind of already know that I'm not going to be able to knit on all of them. I'm definitely not going to finish them before the fall ends for a couple of reasons. First of all, because I'm quite a slow knitter and I like to have different projects on the go at the same time, so that means that I'm not able to focus on one knit. Well, I could, but I choose not to focus on one knit at a time, finish it relatively quickly and then move on to the next. And then the second reason is that I'm going away on vacation for about 2.5 weeks and I don't think I will have a lot of knitting time whilst I'm over there, although I'm hoping I do knit a bit. There is one project that I want to take that I will share with you afterwards. Yeah, I think we should just get into the knitting patterns. I hope you find some that inspires you and that you want to knit as well. The first one that I want to share with you is the one that I shared in my latest knitting podcast, because I've cast it on just barely. So I think that's going to be my priority once I've gone back to knitting and finished one of my summer project that was for a friend that I'm still working on. But this is my swatch. I want to make jacket number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And this is the swatch I made. It's so pretty. Don't know if you can see the marling. I'm going to use Jensen and Silk Mohair by Isager in these two colorways. So the Jensen is color 0 or white. This is 100% pure new wool, and I think I've got like 500 grams or something like that, maybe a bit more. And for the silk mohair, this is number 6. This is 75% kid mohair, 25% silk, and it's 25 grams for about 212 meters. I think I've got about 6. I've been really curious to try Jensen yarn, and it is definitely expensive, so it's kind of a splurge, but I'm excited to use it. I really like the feeling of this in a skein or like in a hank, and I really love this combination in this swatch. So I think this is going to be the right choice for this cardigan, because I really want to be able to throw it on anything and hopefully it's not scratching and just be really lovely and cozy for the fall and winter. So I'll just show you quickly what I've got going on already. This is the back panel and I've done some of the increases. So I don't have much and I would really like for it to be finished before my holidays. I know that that's not going to happen, so I'm hoping that when I get back from my holidays in October, I can focus on it and finish it before the end of October, hopefully. I mean, we'll see, that depends on this. So this pattern features these lovely cables all over, and I really love the detail of the cable down the shoulder, which is what I'm doing with the increases at the moment. And it's a v-neck cardigan, very cozy. It's got quite long ribbing, which is a design that I love. I don't love when the ribbing is quite short, and I'm hoping this will be the perfect addition to my wardrobe. The next pattern that I really want to make is actually what I think I'm going to bring with me to my holiday. We're going to Japan, so it's going to be a long flight, so hopefully I can get a bit of knitting done on the flight. I'll have to think about bringing my wooden needles so that hopefully they won't be taken away from me. And so I'm gonna use Knitting for Olive Merino and Soft Silk Mohair in the colorway Marzipan, I think. Yeah. So the soft silk mohair is 70% mohair and 30% silk, and the merino is 100% extra fine merino. This is something that I've had in my stash for a while because I've actually used it, and I'm in the process of frogging the project I've got with this. I'm gonna make a whole video on that, but I've started to frog my Friday Slipover by Petite because it's just too small. I chose the wrong size. I chose to knit a size S, and even though I swatched, my swatch is too small, and I think back then I was really new to knitting, and I thought blocking would fix this, but it's just gonna be too small. I can see it now, and I had done the collar and this armhole, and I knit a bit on the body before starting to frog, but I just want to reknit it in the right size and with the correct needle size. So I'm hoping I can salvage the yarn. I've started to make these little hangs because I'm hoping to put the yarn in water in order for it to uncurl. I'm gonna vlog the whole process because I'm very new to this. This is the first time that I'm frogging a whole garment, and well, I hadn't finished it, but it's the first time I've had so much noodly yarn, and I hope I can reuse the yarn that I had already broken into, because this is what I haven't used so far, but I've got one full skein and one full skein of both the mohair and the merino used up, and you know, as you can see, a few grams of these. So I think when I'll start knitting on it again, I might start with these, and then I'll use the grams that I had in this one for the armholes and for all of the ribbing, so that even if it's still a bit noodly, it doesn't show as much. I mean, it is broken rib, so it's a broken rib pattern, so hopefully even if it's not pristine, it still looks good. This is the broken rib pattern. I really like that. I like that this Slipover, I think it only has, or is supposed to have, like 6 centimeters of positive ease, which is good. I want something that I can wear, you know, with like a t-shirt underneath, or even on its own with like just jeans. So hopefully this will be a good project and will fit me. I'm not sure how well this will suit me, but I want to try. And that was the plan all along. I just didn't make the right decision in picking the size and everything. The next knitting pattern I'm going to talk briefly about because I've mentioned it a bunch of times already. This is to use this yarn that I've had in my stash for a while. This is Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair in the colorway Bordeaux, and Ulysse by Natura in the colorway Amarante. So I've already talked about the combination of this, but this is 100% wool. It's a sport weight yarn, and I would like to make the Charlie Pullover by Morecaknit. It's a polo neck jumper, quite flowy, quite oversized, that I'm really excited to make. And I've made my swatch. This is hopefully what the yarn will do. The design is meant to be knit with heavy fingering and mohair, I think. I'm using a sport weight because I'm quite a tight knitter, so I usually have to go up a needle size, and this means that it's quite dense, but hopefully I think this will look good. I'm not sure when I'm gonna cast it on, because that's the one that I want to cast on first, because I've had that yarn and that design in my mind for so long, but I'm worried about the double knitting with my wrist. So the color is made with double knitting, and it's the first thing that you do in the pattern, and I just know that the few last times I made double knitting button band and everything, it hurt my wrist a lot back then, even when I didn't have any issues. And so I'm worried that this project might not be the best to do right when I can go back to knitting. But I'm gonna cast it on in the fall, and then I will not bore you again with this, hopefully for too long. The next design that I want to make is quite special. I really want to make the Porcelain Sweater by Lene Holmesemse or LeKnit. This is a design that I'm going to cast on along with my friend Sandra. I'm really excited. It's just going to be a buddy knit, just knitting the two of us together, but it's going to be lovely. And for that I'm going to use, so I bought this beautiful skein of organic merino from Olivia and Oliver Fibers from her Endless Autumn collection back in the beginning of the year. This is 100% non-superwash fine merino, and it is 400 meters for 100 grams. This is in the colorway Foliage, and that's going to be the contrast color of my porcelain sweater. I would like to pair it with Tynn Gynt by Sandnes Garn in the colorway 1002, which I think is just white. This I've had in my stash also for a while because I bought it originally to make the No Frills cardigan by Petite knit. So I bought 10 skeins of this, so I've got loads. I do want to make that cardigan still, but when I swatched this with the alpaca one by Isager that I wanted to use it with, it was just too small of a swatch, and if I went up too many needle sizes, then it was just too see-through, and because it's a long cardigan, I wasn't sure that the construction would, you know, hold very well. So I'm gonna buy another main yarn for the No Frills cardigan later in the year. I'm thinking either Drops Daisy or Pierre Gynt by Sandnes Garn in order to use like a, I don't know, 5mm needle size. I have to swatch to see if that's what I need to buy. But anyways, that means that I've got 10 skeins of this that I can pair really well with this. This is the yarn that is originally used in that pattern, so I think it's going to be great. And I want to pair these two. So I've had these two leftovers mohair in my stash, and I was like thinking of what I could pair with this, which pairing mohair with a white like that, it's quite easy. I could have gone for Sandnes Garn Tin Silk Mohair in the colorway white, and I knew that that would have gone well. Or I could do, you know, Knitting for Olive, one of their whites would pair well with this. The hardest one was for this. I want to be able to see all of the variation in this yarn and this and everything. And I want the green to stay that green. And because I had these in my stash, that was perfect for me to see if, you know, holding them together it would look good or not before buying loads more for the full jumper. And I think this is gonna work great. So this is Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair again. As you can tell, I'm obsessed, but also, as I said, I kind of wanted to try to knit with Filcolana because that's a mohair that I really like, but that I've used only once, and I wanted to use it because I've used it on its own, but I wanted to try it with a fingering, but I was scared that I wouldn't find it in store and wouldn't be able to check the color against this. So I just went the easy route, and you know, I know that this is gonna look great. This is Dusty Olive, and the white is cream. This is leftover from my sweater number 18 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and this is leftover from my fluffy crop top, which I've never shown on the channel actually. Maybe I should one day. And yeah, so also means I can buy less mohair, which is good. I've ordered it, it's not come yet, but that means that when I can, hopefully when I can finally knit, I'll be ready to swatch. And I think we've planned on hopefully casting it on after my holidays as well. The one thing about that pattern, so this is a really pretty colorwork design. You start by knitting it flat, and then it's a drop shoulder, so I think you do the back panel first, then you pick up for the shoulders, join in around, and then you knit stockinette style. But the one thing is that the intended positives for this design is, I think, supposed to be 15 centimeters, but in the picture of the design, the model is wearing one with 20 to 25 centimeters of positives. and that's the amount of positives that I would like, so I'm gonna knit a size up. I think I've decided on knitting the size M or L, maybe L, so I should have enough yarn for this, because I don't want this to be too tight fitting. I want this to be quite flowy. I'm really excited about this, and the reason why it's kind of special is because of this yarn, obviously. So yeah, I think it's going to be a really beautiful design, and I've not knit with the green yarn for a while, so I'm excited to have another one with green yarn. This is going to be the second one in my wardrobe that is white and green, which is why I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I should have chosen a different color, but I loved that color. I love the idea of the green and white porcelain version, and I think next year I'll definitely make a green, like an olive green sweater, because that's what I'm missing from my wardrobe. And then to keep talking about Olivia and Olivia fibers, I bought other yarn from her when I ordered the skein for the porcelain sweater, and I bought a sock set, which is a DK sock set, which is 75% superwash merino wool and 25% nylon. The main colorway is called Susurrus, and the contrast is Spruce. And I would really like to make the Hibernal Socks DK version. I think it's by Summerlee, but as always I'll put it on the screen and in the description box down below. It's been a while since I've made a pair of socks. I've made one last year, like in March or something, and then I started another one later in the year, which I still haven't finished, but I'm hoping to finish before Christmas. But because this is a DK weight yarn, and because I love the design of the Hibernal socks and I love the color, I haven't knit any socks with a contrast yarn, contrast color, so I'm excited to see how that looks. I'm really motivated to work on this, and you know, maybe I'll do that like 2 weeks just knitting on these, maybe even just a week because it's DK. I don't know how long that will take me, but that's my goal. Even if I don't finish any other things that I just mentioned, maybe don't hold me to that, but I'll try and make that one of the patterns that I do end up making this fall. And then the last pattern that I want to share with you is one that I'm not entirely sure I'll have time to make. I mean, realistically, I probably won't have time to make any of the other ones as well, but a girl can dream. I want to use this Suri Silk by Olivia and Olivia Fibers. Again, this is 74% baby Suri alpaca and 26% mulberry silk. It is 300 meters for 50 grams, and I've got 4 skeins of this in the colorway chestnut. I really want to make an Esther Sweater by Petite in this colorway. I fell in love with the design. I liked the jacket version when it first came out, because that was the first design that came out with this crisscross pattern, and I liked the pattern, but I didn't love the jacket version because it's a round color. I don't really love that look for a cardigan for myself, and so when I saw the sweater version I fell in love with it. But back then I was like, oh, I don't know what color I want to make it in. I don't think I wanted a white one, because whilst I love a neutral sweater, I had just finished the sweater number 18, and so I wasn't sure what color I wanted. I wasn't sure what yarn I wanted to use. I had bought this without any pattern in mind. I just knew I wanted to make a sweater, so I bought a sweater quantity. And so when this came in and I saw the color, I was like, ooh, I think an Esther sweater in this beautiful chestnut colorway is gonna be gorgeous. So then I thought, what yarn am I going to pair with this? Because originally I thought I had wanted to do a sweater with to pair with a fingering, so a DK sweater. And so I had thought about you know, pairing it with a Knitting for Olive colorway that could have worked. But the Esther sweater is made using a DK and a lace weight together, and so that couldn't work because Knitting for Olive don't have a DK weight yarn, and I think they should. I thought maybe I could use their heavy merino, because as always I'm a tight knitter, I can usually go up one or two needle sizes, but so far the designs that I've made by Petite, I could just use the yarns recommended and just go up one or two needle sizes and it was fine. So I wasn't sure that holding heavy merino with this would be too dense. So then I looked for Jensen. They do have quite like two colorways that maybe could have worked, but again it was online, I couldn't really compare. And so in the end I decided to pre-order Olivia and Olivia Fibers Organic DK in the colorway chestnut. That way I know that it's going to be perfect together. I really love this color, and that's the thing, sometimes I buy one yarn and I don't buy, you know, the silk mohair that goes with it or the fingering that goes with it, and I'm like, I know that I'm going to find something, but then I really struggle to make a decision. And in my local yarn shops, they usually don't have the corresponding yarn that I'm looking for, or they don't have all of the colors, and so that doesn't really work, and so I have to choose online, and that's a struggle. So if you're struggling like me, let me know in the comments so that I know that I'm not alone. But yeah, so this is going to be a very expensive sweater, but I know that, well, hopefully it will be worth it. I'm really in love with the Petite Knit design, and so I think in this beautiful Surrey silk and corresponding organic DK, it's gonna be great. I think the organic DK is a non-superwash merino. I don't have the info out of the top of my head on that yarn, but I'll definitely talk about it in a future podcast. So stay tuned if you'd like to know more. At the end of these videos, I also usually do a roundup of what I ended up making from my summer projects plans. I feel like this time it's a little bit difficult to do that because I haven't knit in a month, and so I haven't made that much progress on my summer projects. So I hope you don't mind if I don't do that roundup. I just feel like I'm really repeating myself because I've been so low on knitting, and so I haven't had a lot of new things to show and share. So maybe in my next knitting podcast at the beginning, I'll do a quick roundup of summer projects that will go into my fall knitting as well. So that's still quite a long list of knitting that I want to do. I think because I haven't been able to knit, I've just been dreaming about so many things. I've been seeing so many people on Instagram knitting things, and because I'm not able to knit, I've got FOMO, and I guess I have this idea that I'm going to be able to knit in like something in 2 weeks, which isn't true, and also it's not something that I want. Also, me not being able to knit has made me realize that even if I set myself a deadline, it's okay if I don't finish a project by then. It's something that I struggle with. Like I try and tell myself that I have time and that I don't have to rush, but also I'm just so in love with the craft of knitting and with the idea of filling my wardrobe with handmade knits and, you know, projects that I really enjoyed making, and that were some things that I worked on myself, that sometimes I can also forget that it's not a race, and that doesn't mean that I can't take my time. I think the struggle that I have is that I have too much yarn in my apartment that is staring right at me, and I just want to turn them into projects and use them. So that's why I'm showing you a lot of projects right now. But realistically, I will probably only finish one full sweater or cardigan, and maybe either Slipover or the sock set, maybe both, but that's about it. I won't be knitting and finishing 3 sweaters in 3 months. So I hope that's clear to you and that you don't feel pressured or anything by watching this video. I hope you found some inspiration. Let me know in the comment if you're planning on knitting any of these patterns, so that maybe we can chat on Instagram whilst we're knitting on them. I won't be knitting on them right away because I'm still waiting for this to be over, but hopefully soon. And that's also the reason why I'm making this video early, by the way, so that you can be inspired and maybe I can live vicariously through you whilst you knit on your fall plans. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!